Duke Energy crews are working to restore power in this neighborhood as well as remove a downed tree. Just ahead, a look at the cleanup efforts underway.
And it is a WRAL weather alert day. I'm tracking a strong storm moving through Durham right now, maybe bringing some penny-sized hail. Coming up, I'll tell you when we have a better chance of seeing severe weather.
And there are Memorial Day ceremonies happening across the area today. And that is why we're going to run you through the list of events where you can honor our fallen troops. Obviously, we want to know a little bit more about how the weather may affect a lot of those, usually outdoor activities. And we'll get to that in just a bit. But first, we want to say thanks for joining us this morning on WRAL News and Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, we're tracking the weather very closely for you. We were just talking about how different it looks here versus Durham. Meteorologist Brian Schrader tracking the showers and where they are right now, Brian.
We do have a pretty strong thunderstorm moving through the southeast part of Durham right now. So we take a look at live radar, putting it into motion. You can see the general motion of these storms to the north and east. And that storm right now is from around the downtown Durham area on down toward the Wake-Durham County line, not too far from the airport. As we take a look at the track for that storm, probably reaching the Creedmoor area in the next 15 minutes and maybe toward Youngsville and Franklinton in the next 20 to 30 minutes. Not really seeing a big problem with winds with this storm, but penny-sized hail appears likely with it. So just be prepared for that as that moves up toward Falls Lake and on into southern Granville County. Here's a live look right now at downtown Durham on the WRAL Live Cam network, and the rain is really coming down there from downtown all the way through the southeast part of Durham. You're looking at some pretty nasty conditions. We're also tracking a pretty intense storm just north of Sanford. You can see all of that lightning as you head north of Sanford up toward the Pittsboro area, northern Lee and southern Chatham counties. A lot of heavy rain there. The WRAL Storm Tracker is on the road right now in Sanford. Let's check in with Kelsey Coffey for a look at conditions. Can you see that storm where you are right now, Kelsey?
Brian, some of that rain has dissipated now, but we did see some lightning that you mentioned earlier. So this is a live look now at roads here in Sanford. Right now we are on US 1 North headed back towards Wake County. But no matter where you are this morning, you will see some wet roads. So be sure just to watch your speed and slow down before you as you head out the door. So we'll be sure to keep you posted on what's going on there. And Brian, what else can you tell us?
Yeah, heading back north on US 1 is a good idea because I think that cell is going to move on into the western side of Wake County here before too long. Let's talk about our weather alert day. As I mentioned, nothing out there right now is severe, but as we head later into the day, our chances of seeing severe weather start to ramp up. We have a level 2 of 5 risk for the entire viewing area. I think the timing for this likely is going to be late afternoon into the early evening. Damaging winds, large hail, and maybe even a tornado or two, all on the table with these storms as they develop later today. And this includes the entire WRAL viewing area. We're getting new model runs in every hour. Coming up, we'll take a look at the latest update from Futurecast and what we may see later today.
All right, we'll see you in just a bit, Brian. Thank you. One of the other things that we're tracking right now, power outages. We saw that number at several thousand this morning in Wake County, but we have seen some adjustments within the past hour or so. WRAL's Laura Levine is in Fuquay-Varina this morning because one of the reasons for the power outages, it appears, is that a tree came down.
Chris, right now we are on Scott Road here in Fuquay-Varina. In the past 15 minutes, more crews have arrived here. I want you to take a look at how they're doing now. Look at this progress. We can now see on the other side of where this tree has fallen, a huge portion of the tree has been removed, and now they just have this section of it that they have to work to get out of the way. Like I said, more crews have arrived here on the scene. If we pan up above to the sky now, you can see they have the trucks up and they're working to restore some of the lines that came down here, causing a lot of the power outages in this area. I spoke with a woman who actually called 911. She got home around 1:30 this morning and saw that some people weren't able to get into their driveways because of this downed tree. Take a listen to what she had to say.
There was a tree down on our street, and I came in and got in the shower, and the power went out.
While you were in the shower?
While I was in the shower with shampoo in my hair. And I called 911 and got the fire trucks out here so we could get the power back on.
And they've been moving pretty quickly since then. But however, a lot of people in this area have been without power since 2 o'clock this morning. No real estimated time of when it will be restored. The good news, earlier this morning, we saw 1,000 customers across Wake County without power, and that is now down to 164. Of course, we'll keep you updated on the progress here on Scott Road. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Fuquay Arena.
Seen improvement. That's good. Thank you, Laura. WRAL is trying to learn what caused a house fire on Garner Road in Raleigh. More than a dozen fire crews responded to smoke and flames just before 3 o'clock this morning. Authorities tell us they managed to put out the flames within minutes, but it's unclear if anyone was home during the fire. WRAL is working to learn that as well.
Pools are now open for the summer, and for parents planning to take your little ones swimming, doctors are warning about water safety. Drowning is the leading cause of death for children between ages 1 and 4. The state health department says that parents should be informed about water conditions. They also say that parents should secure the pool before children arrive, never prop open gates or remove pool ladders when the pool is unattended. And lastly, adults should keep their eyes on the water. Here's Dr. Natalie Blake with Duke Primary Care about advice for flotation devices.
Best practice in terms of flotation devices are U.S. Coast Guard certified life jackets. So not the little flotation devices on the arms, not the donuts. Really, a life jacket is the best bet.
And if you'd like information about pools that are open in our area, you can go to our website, WRAL.com, to find our pool guide. 3 people are hurt after this plane crashed and caught fire in a wooded area in Cumberland County. Sky 5 was able to get video of the badly damaged plane that went down Sunday morning. Authorities say the plane hit trees and crashed shortly after takeoff from Grays Creek Airport. Someone at Cape Fear Aviation Flight Training School told us the plane was one of theirs. They would not confirm if any students were involved. A woman who lives nearby told WRAL it's common to see planes from the flight school flying overhead.
Flying very low. When we first bought the house, we didn't notice there was a lot of air traffic, because otherwise we probably wouldn't have bought it.
And we are working to learn more about the people who were on the plane and how badly they were hurt. The National Transportation Safety Board says it'll have a preliminary report in 30 days.
A person died during a shootout with police in Wilson, and that happened around 12:30 yesterday morning. Police say officers were responding to shots fired on Hood Street, and when they got there, they found a person who they say posed a threat. Officers then say they exchanged gunfire, and the person was killed. The State Bureau of Investigation is now handling this case.
Negotiations for a ceasefire and hostage swap deal between Israel and Hamas will resume tomorrow. That's according to an Egyptian official who spoke with CNN. The new development comes as at least 35 people are dead and dozens more hurt after Israeli strikes on a refugee camp in Rafah. That's according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health. The ministry said most of the victims are women and children. The Israeli military said it targeted a Hamas compound in Rafah. It says it is aware of reports of civilian casualties. And Hamas has launched missiles near Tel Aviv for the first time in months. Sirens warned people to get to cover on Sunday. The Israel Defense Forces says Hamas launched 8 missiles from Rafah. Several of them were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome. No one was killed or seriously hurt. Hamas claimed responsibility for the attack in a social media post.
The parents of professional golfer Grayson Murray, who is from Raleigh, say that he took his own life. Murray died Saturday morning at the age of 30, and his death came one day after he withdrew from a PGA tournament in Texas. Murray openly shared his struggles with alcohol abuse and anxiety and depression. His death is leaving the professional golf world in shock.
I know him fairly well over the last few months. Shared a couple meals with him, played a couple practice rounds. I was with him for a few hours. He was at our rental house last week, and it's a tough day for all of us out here on tour.
It does it again.
The PGA Tour and Murray's management company shared a statement from his parents. It said in part, quote, "We have spent the last 24 hours trying to come to terms with the fact that our son is gone. It's surreal that we not only have to admit it to ourselves, but that we also have to acknowledge it to the world. It is a nightmare." They also added, "Please honor Grayson by being kind to one another. If that becomes his legacy, we could ask for nothing else." If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, you can call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. That number is 988. There are people available to help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Today, Raleigh's historic Oakwood Cemetery will mark the 100th anniversary of the city's first observance of National Memorial Day. The cemetery will host its annual Memorial Day ceremony at 4 o'clock this afternoon. This is video from last year's ceremony. This year, the keynote speaker will be retired U.S. Ambassador James Kane. The 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing Band will perform, and the ceremony will happen in the cemetery's new Veterans Field of Honor. The city's first National Memorial Day service took place at the cemetery in 1924.
And today, Memorial Day ceremonies across the country will honor those who lost their lives while serving our country. In Raleigh, a ceremony will happen at the State Capitol building downtown. That is at 11 a.m. In Durham, a ceremony will start at 9 a.m. It's about 50 minutes from now at the Durham County Administration Building. That's on East Main Street. And in Fayetteville, a ceremony is being held at Freedom Memorial Park at 10 a.m.
Teacher pay is a serious issue for many people countrywide, including here locally. Hear why WRAL's Education Insider says it'll take more than just a salary bump to fix the teacher turnover issue.
And former President Donald Trump was in Charlotte last night. We'll tell you what we know about his trip to watch the Coca-Cola 600. That's just ahead.
And it is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Just getting a new run of our Futurecast model in. Coming up, I'll show you what it's saying about our best storm chances later today.
We want to show you this camera from South Hill, Virginia, just to get you a look for there. I feel like we don't show that camera as much anymore, so we're showing you that right now. As you're watching WRAL News here on Fox 50 on this WRAL Weather Alert Day, Brian Schrader has been at that computer, the weather computer, all morning watching very carefully as it continues to push across our area.
Yeah, and in South Hill, you can see up here in the top part of the screen, they just had a thunderstorm pass through there a few minutes ago. I'm tracking a storm right now that is moving into Wake County, and just as I walked out here, it looks like they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning now for this cell. This is moving out of Sanford and over Jordan Lake right now. It's about to head into the western portions of Wake County, including Cary, Apex, and Morrisville. Looking at the latest track here, we're talking about Apex in the next 10 minutes or so, Holly Springs 8:20, reaching Cary around 8:25 or 8:30, and in the Raleigh area around 8:40 if it holds together. So we're going to be watching this carefully. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect now. Last check, they were watching this storm for some penny-sized hail, so this may be a hail issue rather than a wind issue. I want to take you to the WRAL storm tracker that is live on the road right now on US 1 heading into that severe thunderstorm. Not really seeing heavy rain at the moment, but as they get a little farther to the north and east, they will hit the core of that storm where they're going to hit a lot of lightning and also a lot of heavy rain and maybe even some hail. Let's take a look at some of the other cells that we are following right now. An earlier storm moving out of Durham into southern Granville and northern Wake County right there along Falls Lake with a lot of lightning just south of Creedmoor and Butner. There's that cell that moved through South Hill, Virginia. Still seeing some rain in Roanoke Rapids and on into Halifax County. This is not the main concern that we have today, even though we do have that severe thunderstorm warning. That tells you that the conditions are ripe, that anything that develops could become severe. But I think the main threat is going to be later this afternoon. That's why it's a WRAL Weather Alert Day for that level 2 of 5 risk for severe weather. Includes the entire viewing area, damaging winds, large hail, and maybe even an isolated tornado possible with these storms. Here's the latest run of Futurecast picking up pretty nicely on the activity we're seeing this morning, and it paints the chance of maybe a shower or thunderstorm popping up at any point later this morning. At noon, it has some activity in our northwestern counties, maybe over toward Hillsborough and Roxborough. That pushes off to the east. We're going to have to watch for severe weather with those cells as they move in around lunchtime into the early afternoon hours. And this version of Futurecast has all of this pushing out of our area as we get toward 5 or 6 this afternoon. Notice how strong those storms get out toward the coast. And that has been one of the features that I've been watching this morning. It looks like the strongest storms could fire up, or the best conditions for severe weather could be along and east of I-95. But all of us run that chance of seeing that severe weather this afternoon. Again, 2 to 4 p.m. probably when that window opens and extends all the way into the early evening hours. High temperature today around 90 degrees, so it is going to be hot. These storms are all because of a cold front that'll move through the area tonight. And behind that front, we're looking at much nicer temperatures later this week with highs right around 80 degrees by Thursday and Friday, much lower humidity. And look at those morning lows in the mid-50s for Friday.
Definitely a comfortable way to wake up. Thanks, Brian. Researchers told WRAL's education insider, Emily Walkenhorst, that fixing skyrocketing teacher turnover will take more than just higher salaries. Teachers and experts say educators need to be paid more and given more resources. WRAL looked into how to help the state's struggling teacher workforce, and that is because a recent report revealed 1 in 9 teachers quit last year. You can learn more about what we found at the education section of WRAL.com. And researchers are calling diagnosis of ADHD an expanding public health concern in the United States. A new study shows about 7 million children, more than 1 in 9, were diagnosed with ADHD in 2022. That is a significant increase of about 1 million more children who received a diagnosis than in 2016. Researchers say the main reasons for the rise in diagnoses could be due to a more awareness of the disorder. They also suggest it could be a reflection of poor mental health among kids during the pandemic.
Summer in North Carolina brings extreme heat, and many people living in Wake County don't have reliable cooling methods. The Cool for Wake program provides relief by donating fans and air conditioners. The program is focused on 3 groups of people: the elderly, families with young children, and people with chronic health conditions.
Because those are the 3 groups of people who are most likely to have a health emergency as a result of high temperatures and humidity and not have cooling in their homes.
Last year, the program raised $4,600 and distributed 260 fans and 18 air conditioners. Donations can be made online or by contributing new or gently used units. Eligible households can request assistance through social workers or by calling 919-212-7083.
We are seeing the aftermath of powerful storms that moved through parts of Missouri yesterday. Tornado watches and warnings were issued across the state yesterday afternoon. We're talking wind gusts reaching up to 80 miles per hour throughout the day. Dozens of homes were damaged and thousands of people were left without power. Interstate 55 in St. Louis was hit hard with floodwaters, trapping some drivers inside their vehicles. I want you to check this out, too. Despite the heat, Puebla City, Mexico saw a surprise hailstorm that brought feet of ice. Locals spent the weekend digging out their homes from underneath the hail. The ice storm blocked roads, knocked down trees, and damaged homes. And here's the thing. Mexico is experiencing a heat wave right now, with temperatures expected to hit as high as 115 degrees. The Papua New Guinea government says more than 2,000 people were killed in Friday's landslide. Survivors are searching through tons of earth and rubble, trying to find missing loved ones. Authorities say dangerous conditions on the ground are hindering rescue efforts. Authorities there also say the landslide left more than 150 houses buried beneath the earth.
Students and alumni at Brown University protested during Sunday's commencement. They waved Palestinian flags and walked out of the graduation ceremony. The protesters are demanding the university divest from companies that support Israel.
Authorities say former General Hospital actor Johnny Wachter was shot and killed in downtown Los Angeles. The 37-year-old actor appeared as Brando Corbin in 164 episodes of the soap opera. That was between 2020 and 2022. According to police, Wachter saw 3 men stealing the catalytic converter from his vehicle, and when he confronted them, they turned around and shot him. He died at the hospital, and at last check, no arrests had been made.
Former President Donald Trump was in Charlotte yesterday to watch the Coca-Cola 600. He was seen talking to Austin Dillon and Richard Childress, Dillon's grandfather and the owner of Richard Childress Racing. While at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Trump met with Charlotte Mecklenburg police officer Chris Tolley, who was injured last month in the raid that left 4 law enforcement officers dead. Trump also met with the parents of Josh Iyer, the police officer who was killed in that raid, as well as Greek Gold Star families.
Bruce Springsteen is postponing several concerts in Europe because of his health. The 74-year-old singer posted on Instagram about this. He said he's dealing with vocal issues and he's under doctor's orders to rest for the next 10 days. Springsteen was supposed to perform Saturday in France, but that show was postponed, and he's expected to resume his tour on June 12th in Madrid.
A reminder that some stores and offices will be closed today in observance of Memorial Day. Government buildings, including the post office, courts, and schools, are all closed. Banks will not be open, and delivery services, including most FedEx and UPS offices, will also not be available. Most retail services will be open today. Costco will close for the day.
People tried to stay afloat in bare-boned vessels during the Schooner Wharf Minimal Regatta in Key West. The Offbeat Regatta is a Memorial Day weekend tradition in the Florida Keys. Each team must build a boat out of plywood, duct tape, and fasteners. That's a MacGyver boat, right? Spectators gathered on the dock to cheer on the boat captains. That person right there going down. Oh, boy.
Well, movie theaters, they were quiet this weekend. It was the slowest Memorial Day holiday weekend in decades. Mad Max prequel Furiosa topped the box office with $25 million. The Garfield movie was second at $24.8 million. They are the top two lowest grossing Memorial Day movies in the last 29 years, not counting 2020. Media experts say the disappointment at the box office is in part because no Marvel movies are coming out to start the season.
The veteran turned organ donor is being celebrated this Memorial Day weekend. Ahead, his wife's message of the gift that he left behind for her in death.
And a daytime shooting at a Raleigh park. What police are saying as there's still no arrest in the case. That's coming up.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning and happy Monday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey, starting our Memorial Day off rainy. Meteorologist Brian Schrader, there is a severe thunderstorm warning for Wake.
That's right. That warning now in effect until 9 a.m. for parts of Wake County, also Harnett, Lee, and Chatham counties. That storm with a lot of lightning and also some large hail and maybe 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts now moving into the southwestern portions of Wake County. Let's take a live look from the WRAL storm tracker that's right in the core of that storm, and you can see where it is really pouring right now. Radar indicates that we are seeing some hail with this as it moves into the Harris Lake area now, heading into Apex. It should be in Apex any minute now, heading into Cary about 8:35, and then if it holds together, likely moving into the city of Raleigh as we head toward 8:40 and 8:45. That thunderstorm warning in effect now until 9 a.m. It is a WRAL weather alert day, and we're going to be tracking storms all day long. I think the best chance of seeing significant severe weather likely will be later this afternoon into the early evening hours. We'll be talking about this more on Fox 50 coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Brian. A house is badly damaged after a pickup truck crashed into it in Cumberland County. This happened on Sandhill Road near the Grays Creek community around 11 o'clock last night. State troopers say the driver ran off the road and lost control. Troopers say the driver was not impaired and no one was hurt. Inspectors say the house is unsafe to live in. Coming up next on Fox 50, keeping your kids safe in the water as pools open up on this Memorial Day. And next on Today, a one-on-one with Bobby Cannavale on his new movie, Ezra.
Well, last night's storms took out power and downed trees in our area. We got to look at the damage left over after the storm, Brian.
WRAL Weather Alert Day, and I'm tracking a severe thunderstorm moving into Wake County right now. I'll tell you when to expect it in the city of Raleigh.
And water safety is top of mind as pools open this weekend. We'll tell you what experts recommend to keep your family safe. We have a lot to get to on your Monday, your Memorial Day. Thank you so much for joining us on Fox 50. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Lovingood, and as Michelle said, today is Memorial Day. You probably have some kind of plans to be outside for some of the ceremonies that are happening. Brian Schrader has been tracking the weather on this weather alert day to see if that's going to affect any of the ceremonies happening today, Brian.
Likely they're going to be dodging showers and thunderstorms as we head through the day. Not all of of them will be severe, but we are already seeing at least one severe thunderstorm in the area. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for much of Wake County, including the city of Raleigh, until 9 a.m. A look at live radar has that storm over the Harris Lake area right now, the New Hill community in southwestern Wake County. I want to take you to the WRAL storm tracker. It's right there in the heart of that storm, and reporter Kelsey Coffey is there in the passenger seat. Kelsey, I know that you have hit some really heavy rain.
Brian, we just hit that heavy rain probably within the past 15 minutes or so, so we'll give you a live look now at the roads. We've seen several drivers turn on their hazard lights because it's really difficult to see. You may even be able to hear that rain just pounding down right now on the storm tracker. So right now we are on US 1 North in Wake County. We were just coming from Sanford and we saw a lot of lightning there. Not as much lightning here right now, but we'll be sure to keep you posted on that throughout the morning. Definitely be careful if you're headed out on the roadways this morning and watch your speed. Brian, what else can you tell us?
I can tell you that thunderstorm that you're in right now may have 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and also quarter-sized hail. So we could see some hail damage with this as it moves into the Apex and Cary areas over the next 10 minutes. Looks like we could see it in Raleigh around 8:45, maybe into Garner if it holds together around 8:50 this morning. So you've got a little bit of a heads up there to expect some severe weather in the heart of Raleigh here over the next 15 to 20 minutes. This is one of our radar products that looks for hail, and it's picked up a swath of hail just north of Sanford, heading over the Haw River there into the Harris Lake area, into Chatham County, the Moncure and Corinth communities. It is not picking up anything right now, but this storm apparently has produced at least a little bit of hail on the radar estimate at least. It is a WRAL weather alert day, and we're going to be looking at the threat of severe weather with any storms that pop up today, but I think the best chance of seeing really significant severe weather likely begins later in the afternoon, maybe around 3 or 4 o'clock, continuing on into the early evening hours. And coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take a look at the latest futurecast models for the timing of all that and what specific threats we may face.
All right, we'll check back in with you, Brian. Thank you. WRAL is working to learn more about what caused a house fire on Garner Road in Raleigh. More than a dozen fire crews responded to smoke and flames just before 3 this morning. Investigators tell us that they managed to put the fire out within minutes, but it's unclear if anyone was at home during the fire.
Pools are now open for the summer, and for parents planning to take your little ones swimming, doctors are warning about water safety. Drowning is the leading cause of death for children between the ages of 1 and 4. The state health department says parents should be informed about water conditions. They also say parents should secure the pool before children arrive, never prop open gates or remove pool ladders when a pool is unattended. And lastly, adults should keep their eye on the water. And WRAL Investigates has put in the work to ensure your family will be safer in local pools after a 16-year-old girl working as a lifeguard was electrocuted on the job. Our Investigates team requested hundreds of inspection documents for Triangle pools. And for this research, including how a loose wire managed to go almost 4 decades without an inspection, you can go to WRAL.com and search pool inspection. 3 people are hurt after this plane crashed and caught fire in a wooded area in Cumberland County. Sky 5 was able to get video of that badly damaged plane that went down Sunday morning. Authorities say the plane hit trees and crashed shortly after taking off from Grays Creek Airport. Someone at Cape Fear Aviation Flight Training School told us the plane was one of theirs. They would not confirm if any students were involved. A woman who lives nearby told WRAL it's common to see planes from the flight school flying overhead.
Flying very low. When we first bought the house, we didn't notice there was a lot of air traffic, because otherwise we probably wouldn't have bought it.
And we are working to learn more about the people who were on board and how badly they were hurt. The National Transportation Safety Board says it will have a preliminary report in 30 days.
Raleigh police are still working to make an arrest after a man was shot in broad daylight at a park. Police say the shooting happened at Worthdale Park on Sunnybrook Road. That was a little before 6 o'clock last night. They say he has serious injuries. A man who lives nearby told us that he is concerned with the amount of crime in that area.
At first, I thought since it was like Memorial Weekend, it was like fireworks. So when I came on the porch, I saw the policemen and stuff here. This is not a safe neighborhood, and the kids need to put them guns down.
Police say there is no threat to the community.
The Libertarian Party has selected Chase Oliver as its candidate for president. Party delegates made that decision last night at their convention. Donald Trump also sought the nomination, and he faced a less than friendly reception as he spoke at the convention on Saturday night.
Now I think you should nominate me or at least vote for me, and we should win together.
The crowd repeatedly booed Trump during his speech. Independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. also sought the nomination, but was eliminated from contention early voting.
The parents of professional golfer Grayson Murray, who is from Raleigh, say that he took his own life. Murray died Saturday morning at the age of 30. His death came one day after he withdrew from a PGA tournament in Texas. Murray openly shared his struggles with alcohol abuse and anxiety and depression. His death is leaving the pro golf world in shock.
I got to know him fairly well over the last few months. Shared a couple meals with him, played a couple practice rounds. I was with him, for a few hours. He was at our rental house last week, and it's a tough day for all of us out here on tour.
Does it again. The PGA Tour and Murray's management company shared a statement from his parents. It said in part, quote, "We have spent the last 24 hours trying to come to terms with the fact that our son is gone. It's surreal that we not only have to admit it to ourselves, but that we also have to acknowledge it to the world. It is a nightmare." They also added, "Please honor Grayson by being kind to one another. If that becomes his legacy, we could ask for nothing else." Now, if you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, there is help for you. You can call, you can text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline right there on your screen, 988, just 3 numbers to get you help. There are people available to help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Investigators were on this scene in Raleigh for more than 8 hours on Sunday after a man was found shot to death. Police responded to Deep Channel Drive near Buffalo Road and the Neuse River around 5:30 a.m. They found 31-year-old Jeremiah Frazier dead with multiple gunshot wounds. The investigation is ongoing.
Today, Raleigh's historic Oakwood Cemetery will mark 100 years of the city's observance of a National Memorial Day. The cemetery will host its annual Memorial Day ceremony at 4 this afternoon. You're looking at video on your screen from last year's ceremony. And this year, the keynote speaker will be retired U.S. Ambassador James Kane. The 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing Band will perform, and the ceremony will happen in the cemetery's new Veterans Field of Honor. The city's first National Memorial Day service took place at the cemetery in 1924.
And today, those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country will be honored in Memorial Day ceremonies. In Fayetteville, a ceremony will take place at Freedom Memorial Park at 10 a.m. In Raleigh, a ceremony will be held at the State Capitol building downtown. That starts at 11 this morning. And in Durham, a ceremony will start at 9 a.m. at the Durham County Administration building. That's on East Main Street.
We're seeing some improvement in power outages that we have been tracking this morning in Wake County. WRAL's Laura Levine has been in Fuquay Arena this morning where crews were removing a fallen tree there.
Several crews are here on the scene on Scott Road, just off of Fayetteville Road and Fuquay Arena, where you can see they are still working to remove that tree that came down early this morning. Right now they have the trucks up because they're also trying to fix some of those downed power lines and restore power. Many people in this area without power. Earlier this morning we saw significant power outages. There have been some improvements, but this seems to be a very isolated situation. Earlier this morning we've seen crews working to remove this tree piece by piece with the chainsaws, breaking it down. We've seen a lot of progress. However, I spoke with someone who lives nearby who tells me she's been without power since 2 o'clock this morning because of this situation.
Nobody comes down here really, and so whenever I came down and saw that I could get in my driveway, we were fine, but nobody else can get in or out this road, so I figured I better call somebody.
How challenging has it been just without any power? I know you were telling me.
It just sucks.
Yeah. You still got
There's no other word.
Not the best start to her Memorial Day. However, she's still in a good spirit. Crews are working as quickly as they can to restore power and get this tree removed. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Fuquay Arena.
We'll be flying in Wake County's annual Field of Honor this afternoon. Coming up, the details on even more events you can attend to recognize the meaning of today's Memorial Day holiday.
And we will take you live out to a rainy North Hills this morning on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. Coming up after the break, meteorologist Brian Schrader will give us the updated forecast as more storms are expected later this afternoon and evening. Welcome back on your rainy Monday morning as we look live over Fenton and Cary. The rain coming down there right now. There is a severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock this morning for Wake County. Meteorologist Brian Schrader has been tracking these storms all morning long. We're getting some now. We're also going to get some later.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about later this afternoon, but we're already dealing with a severe thunderstorm moving right through Wake County. Want to zoom in here? That warning in effect until 9 a.m. for much of southern and central Wake County. A look at live radar right now shows the worst of that storm from around the Harris Lake area through Holly Springs up toward Apex and Cary and just starting to move into the western parts of Raleigh. Latest storm track takes it into downtown Raleigh in any minute now and then toward Garner, over toward Knightdale, 8:50, 9 a.m. And if it holds together into the northern part of Wake County toward Rollsville and Wendell around 9:10 or so. I want to zoom in here a little closer and show you this is an exclusive product that we have in the WRAL Severe Weather Center that kind of looks at all of the radar data and the atmospheric profile and kind of gives you what the threat that we're seeing with each cell is. And it's painting an area there just to the southwest of Holly Springs, just to the west of Fuquay, where we're likely seeing at least some hail. And radar is indicating we may have quarter-sized hail, at least in some parts of that storm. Also couldn't rule out a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust with that severe thunderstorm. I want to take you to the WRAL storm tracker that is on the road right now in Cary, up there around US 1 and the Crossroads area, Walnut Street, and you can see how hard it's raining. So even if you're not seeing the hail and the wind out of this storm, you're about to get some very heavy rain moving into Cary and the southern parts of Raleigh and soon into the central parts of Raleigh. Of course, we're going to be tracking that storm as it heads through Wake County. Elsewhere, I'm watching some scattered thunderstorms north of the Triangle, including in northern parts of Wake County. Creedmoor, you're seeing a thunderstorm right now to the west of Lewisburg and western Franklin County, and also up toward Henderson. We're seeing some rain and at least a little bit of thunder with that storm along I-85. Also between Rocky Mount and Wilson, a little thunderstorm popping up through there. We're going to see those scattered storms possible at any point today, but we've declared a WRAL weather alert day because we're concerned about significant severe weather later this afternoon. Everybody in our viewing area is under a level 2 of 5 risk for severe weather. That's an elevated level. It just means we're expecting a little more coverage with severe weather later today, including damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. I want to show you the latest update from Futurecast, and as we put it into motion, it indicates that we could see some activity moving into our western counties around lunchtime into the early afternoon. We'll have to watch all of that very carefully for the potential of severe weather. That threat lasts on into the late afternoon hours, and at least this version of Futurecast moves all of this out of here by about 5 or 6. But other computer model data that I've looked at this morning has that lingering maybe into the 7 and 8 o'clock hours this evening. So let's call it a window of time between about noon and 8 or 9 p.m. where we could see some severe weather. So you need to have a way to get warnings today and have an action plan. If you do get one of those warnings, know what you're going to do. Think about it now and not when you get the warning. A weather alert day for today with a high around 90 degrees. This is all because of a cold front that comes through tonight, and you see how it knocks down the temperatures later this week. We're going to see highs right around 80 degrees by the end of the week, morning lows in the mid-50s with comfortable humidity. We just have to get through today.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Durham police identified the man killed in a drive-by shooting. This happened around 5 o'clock Saturday night. Police say 20-year-old Ricky Nichols Jr. was in the passenger seat of a white sedan when they were near Dearborn Drive and Old Oxford Road. Another car pulled up next to them. Someone in the other car started shooting. Nichols died at the scene. The suspects and the sedan's driver fled. Police are still investigating.
A man accused of setting another man on fire on a New York City subway train is facing new charges. Police say 49-year-old Niall Taylor committed a similar act last February. This is video from that previous incident there. You see right there, it's on fire in his hand. Police say Taylor tossed a lit container of flammable liquid at a group of people standing on a subway station platform. No one was hurt in that situation, but in Saturday's attack, a man suffered burns to his upper body. Taylor is facing 8 charges related to Saturday's case.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. I want to get up to speed with some reports. Reuters and the Associated Press are reporting there were a couple of shootouts that happened in Pakistan, right on the border of Afghanistan, where 7 Pakistani soldiers were killed, as well as 23 militants. They were conducting several raids in a volatile area of the country, a former stronghold of the Pakistan Taliban. Shootouts happened there. 7 soldiers, 23 militants. The Army is reporting died in that. The first exchange happened overnight. 6 militants, 2 Army officers were killed. And the reports coming out of Pakistan's military say that they embraced martyrdom. A second shootout happened during a security operation today, leaving 10 militants dead, 5 soldiers and 7 also killed during a separate fire exchange in another district in that country.
All right, thank you, Jeff. A rider is seriously hurt after a 4-wheeler crashed in Moore County. This happened on Roseland Road outside of Aberdeen Sunday afternoon. Officials say the person driving the 4-wheeler lost control and hit a tree. The rider was taken to the hospital.
The flags flying for the annual Wake County Field of Honor display will be up until this afternoon. The Wake County Exchange Club set up 500 flags at the West Raleigh baseball fields on Behringer Drive. There will be a commemorative ceremony today, and that starts at 1 p.m.
This is a time when many people come together to honor those who have died while serving our country. And this Memorial Day, one local family is reflecting on a veteran who continues to serve even after his death, saving many more lives with his organs. And as WRAL's Laura Levine shares, part of him even lives on in his widow.
This is Patrick Brzezowski and his wife Liz, pictured side by side with still many more memories yet to make.
His personality was as large as his stature. He had a heart of gold. He loved his family.
Slowly finding the words to describe the love of her life to me, 1 year after his death, she now sits with his memory.
He loved being in the military. It kind of defined him. He was in for 24 years, and I think when he was in the military, helping people was just what he loved to do.
He served 3 tours overseas, yet it was March 26, 2023 that became their worst nightmare.
I smelled burning rubber, and then I felt the tire start to vibrate. And I just tapped him on the shoulder, and I said to him, I think we need to pull over. I think the tire's going to blow. And that's the last thing I remember.
They were riding home on their motorcycle before it crashed. She later learned from witnesses he grabbed her to take the brunt of the impact. Much later, Patrick was declared brain dead. This honor walk, where more than 100 members of his brothers and sisters in the Combat Veteran Association celebrated his life.
You know, Patrick was big into helping us help the families for those that we lost.
His selfless spirit lived on. In his passing, it was discovered he was a registered organ, eye, and tissue donor.
That's not surprising at all. I mean, he was just a big character, you know, big heart.
I later got a letter from the recipient of the liver, and his name is Johnny, and he sent me a letter just, you know, thanking me.
Honor Bridge, a local organ donation and tissue recovery organization, helped in this process. Someone also received one of his kidneys. But it doesn't stop there. Liz herself was still recovering from the accident.
I had elbow surgery in February, and my doctor had said that I needed to have reconstruction and that I would need a cadaver graft. And my thought in my head was, wow, I could possibly use one of Patrick's donations.
Directed donations are super rare, so we recognize this as a special case.
This honor garden, as they walk through it today, is a reminder of hope to help others.
I can't talk about him for a long time because I get worked up, and I suppose that's going to happen for a long time. But I have him in my arm for the rest of my life, so he will always be with me.
That was Laura Levine reporting. One single donor can save and heal up to 75 lives. To become one, you can register at honorbridge.org. You can go to the DMV, or you can do it on the health app on your iPhone.
Oyster populations have been struggling for decades on the North Carolina coast, and that is why the Division of Marine Fisheries began their oyster rotation program, restoration that is, nearly 30 years ago. And 16 years ago, the North Carolina Coastal Federation joined in on this effort. They're currently dumping rocks by the bargeful into a section of the Pamlico Sound as part of an oyster sanctuary. This spring and summer, the work is continuing in the Sound, where the groups hope to reconstruct another 30 to 40 acres. And before we go, here's a quick look at your winning lottery numbers, and we'll get another check on weather and traffic in just a couple of minutes. We'll see you.